Hey everybody, this is D Hunter, bringing another action figure review. Today, we're going to look at the McFarlane DC Multiverse, The Batman, Bruce Wayne Unmasked. This is Bruce Wayne, played by Robert Pattinson in the upcoming The Batman film. He's in his Drifter disguise, and this is the Target exclusive version without the facial covering. I've been looking for this guy for a long time. He's the last figure to complete the Batman collection, unless McFarlane releases something else that we don't know about. I found this figure at Target. Like I said before, in the US here it's a Target exclusive. They're getting full cases of 6, so it really shouldn't be that hard to find this guy. Let's go and check out the packaging. As you can see at the top, 22 moving parts, McFarlane toys, ages 12 plus, DC Multiverse, The Batman, Bruce Wayne Unmasked. Here he is in the package. He's got a backpack, a display stand, and a collector's card. One side of the pack, Bruce Wayne Unmasked from The Batman. Other side simply says Bruce Wayne Unmasked. The bottom got a bunch of credits, and there is a barcode in case that helps anybody. And at the back, here's the Unmasked Drifter with the Drifter motorcycle. So no further ado, let's open him up. And I did end up getting 3 of these figures, one of which to open and enjoy, one of which to keep unopened in my complete 6 and 7 inch unopened Batman-related action figure collection, and then a third one. I'm going to take his head off, swap it out, and have me another random street thug. Here's the Unmasked Drifter, next to the Drifter Bruce Wayne with the facial covering. And here's the entire collection of McFarlane's DC Multiverse, The Batman. I finally have the entire thing unopened, and open as well. Alright, now that we got this figure out of the package, here he is with all his accessories laid out. He does come with a display stand, a collector's card, and a backpack. But before we take a look at those, let's talk about and check out the actual figure. So this is the Bruce Wayne Drifter Unmasked. It's a Target exclusive figure, played by Robert Pattinson in the film The Batman. The Drifter is essentially his sort of in disguise look, but not in the Batman suit to get around Gotham City. Kind of reminds you of Matches Malone from the comics or the cartoons. Now, when I reviewed the masked version of the Drifter, I hadn't seen the film yet. Now that I have seen the film, a lot of these questions have been answered. So let's take a look at him. Start with his head here. Now, first thought, you do see the side eyes going to his right. Now, I also really wish he didn't have the makeup around the eyes. I realize he did in the Drifter outfit, as he was in between Bruce Wayne and Batman. But I would love to take this head and pop it onto a regular civilian body to have an unmasked Bruce Wayne from The Batman. Hair would be a little bit messy for that. It's also worth noting his face is quite dirty. He's got dirt on both his cheeks. The unmasked Batman head was a lot cleaner than this one. First thoughts, the torso just looks awkward, big and bulky. It's way too big. Robert Pattinson's kind of a slim guy. The hood part here makes it look like he has no neck. It just really wasn't done very well. It doesn't visually look that good. Didn't translate to action figure form very well, but it could have. Now, it's sort of a soft goods overlay here. You can see I can sort of just like poke into it. Arms are made of regular plastic. He's got the wrap around his hands. Single jointed elbows. Single jointed knees. Cargo pants. I mean, it looks like something a thug could wear, or even a homeless person. That is one thing I really like about this figure. What about the other one? I bought an extra one and I turned it into a Gotham City thug, and I'm gonna do the same with the extra one of this guy. And just a closer look at his face and head sculpt. The likeness to Robert Pattinson, I mean, I can sort of see it, sort of not. I wouldn't say it's that great. I mean, I can tell who they're going for, Bruce Wayne from The Batman, but I'm not really sold on the likeness. In addition to that, for my own personal uses, I would have loved the head to be a little cleaner. No dirt on it, no makeup around the eyes. That we could transplant it onto another body and have a Bruce Wayne in civilian attire. Even if I were to repaint this head, you'd still have that messy hair to deal with. Beyond that, I'm really looking forward to doing some head swaps and seeing what I can do with this body. And here's a close-up of the head with the masked Drifter Bruce Wayne. I noticed the makeup is a lot darker on this version. And at the beginning of the video, I said that I bought 3 of these unmasked Drifter Bruce Wayne figures. Well, I ended up getting a 4th one, so now I have 3 of these guys to open. I have plans for all 3 of them, but we'll check that out in just a little bit. Now let's take a look at his accessories, and let's start off with the boring stuff. Here's a display stand, 2-way McFarlane stand, black perfect circle, sets of DC at the bottom. It's got 1 peg for the peg holes on his feet, very thin, very basic. Now let's look at his collector's card. As you can see, it's an image of the unmasked Bruce Wayne Drifter figure holding the Drifter motorcycle. Bruce Wayne unmasked from the Batman. On the other side, there's a description. If you want to read that, go ahead and pause now. Here's the unmasked Drifter's collector's card on the left, next to the masked version on the right. Now let's look at his backpack. The thing is made of sort of a rubbery material. It's all one solid color brown, and it would definitely benefit from a little bit of paint variety. It's got a handle you can hold at the top there. It's got the straps made of a very soft material, bendable. It's got all kind of sculpted straps and pockets on the front, but it just really looks kind of bland, all being this one color. Here's Bruce Wayne without the backpack on, and here with the backpack on. You can't really tell from the front, but if you spin him around, he can also hold the backpack with the handle on the top. And with the 2 masked drifters and the 3 unmasked drifters that I bought to open, I've now got a total of 5 of these backpacks. Another accessory of his is a helmet. Now this figure didn't actually come with this helmet. This helmet came with the Drifter motorcycle. But of course, it's intended for the Drifter Bruce Wayne, either version. As you can see, it's all black. It's got a lot of sort of scuff marks on the top, on the little bill. It's got the black visor there. On the inside, it will essentially replace his head. It's not a helmet that goes on top of his head. Here's the Drifter Bruce Wayne with the standard unmasked Bruce head. And here, with the motorcycle helmet on, I had to dip the figure into boiling water to remove the unmasked head, and then put the helmet into boiling water to be able to attach it properly. That essentially gives me 3 different versions of the Bruce Wayne Drifter figure. That is one of the reasons that I got multiples of this guy. And that still leaves me with 2 unmasked Drifter Bruce Wayne figures. What am I going to do with the second one? Well, I want to make a Gotham City street thug. Here's a street thug, punk, or henchman that I made out of the masked version of the Drifter Bruce Wayne, head swapped with a Jazzwares AEW wrestling figure. Now when I bought the masked Drifter, I tried a couple different head swaps. I bought an extra one of this Mattel WWE Elite Undertaker specifically for this purpose. I'm going to head swap these 2 guys. And here's the Bruce Wayne Drifter with the Undertaker head. I think it works fantastic for my intents and purposes. Of course, that leaves me with that extra Undertaker body. I took the extra head I had from the masked version of the Drifter Bruce Wayne and popped on this guy. Not sure if that's how I'm going to keep it, but for now, it gives me another thug or henchman. So that effectively gives me 2 new thugs and henchmen for overall Gotham City. 1 from each of the Drifter Bruce Wayne releases. I now have 5 different variations of the Drifter Bruce Wayne, 2 of which are random street thugs, and then 3 of which are the Drifter Bruce Wayne in 3 different looks. And if you count the 2 that I didn't open, I bought a total of 7 of these Drifter Bruce Wayne figures. Yeah, I'm kinda nuts. After doing those head swaps, that leaves me with 2 of the unmasked Drifter Bruce Wayne heads. Let's see how they look on some different bodies. So I took these 2 bodies. These are both from Diamond Select Toys. Both kind of slim bodies. Both in sort of dress-up attire. Thought it might work good for the Robert Pattinson Bruce Wayne. Here it is, on the Walter Peck from Ghostbusters body. The head looks a little bit too big. Sits a little too low, can't see his neck. I could sit the head up a little bit higher, but it just wouldn't look right on this body. And here's the head on the Man in Black from Dark Tower's body. Looks a little better on this one, but still not quite right. Another accessory you just really have to have for this figure is going to be the Drifter motorcycle. Here's the unmasked Drifter, riding on the Drifter motorcycle. Match made in heaven. Now that we've taken a pretty good look at both the figure and his accessories. Now let's check out his height. From bottom to the top of his head, he's standing at about 7.2 inches tall, which is going to translate to about 18 centimeters. Now let's check out his articulation. Start with his head here. Of course, you can rotate from side to side. You can look up about that far, down about that far. You can tilt his head from one side to the other, giving a good amount of personality. Shoulders on a ball joint, goes out way more than 90 degrees. Up, down, around, all that good stuff. Single jointed elbow, goes in about that far with rotation. His wrists can rotate, and it's going to be hinged as well. His torso, now I can't really tell what's going on underneath. I know there's a ball joint in his waist. I feel like there's another joint somewhere up here, but it really doesn't help you very much. He's not going to be able to hold any of those poses. The waist is going to give you everything you need or you're going to get from this guy. Forward, back, side to side, he'll hold those poses. Legs, completely does the splits. Not a ball joint, but a similar type of concept. Rotation is pretty much minimal. He does have a thigh cut below that. His legs go forward about that far, back about that much. Single jointed knees with rotation. Then his ankle here, forward and back, rotate, tilt, rock, and toe articulation. Here's Bruce Wayne and Alfred in the Batcave. Bruce Wayne is putting on his drifter gear, getting ready to go scope out what's happening in Gotham City. And here's the drifter Bruce Wayne, driving down the streets of Gotham. And a closer look at the drifter Bruce Wayne on the drifter motorcycle, driving around in disguise. Nobody can tell who he is. Here's the drifter Bruce Wayne, the unmasked version holding his helmet next to the motorcycle. And here's the masked version, staying next to the drifter motorcycle. He gets off his motorcycle. He approaches this gang of street thug bikers. He's trying to get some information. As he continues to ask questions, they become very suspicious of him and pull out some weapons. He knows it's on at this point. He takes his helmet off and knocks out one of the thugs. He ends up taking on the rest of the thugs, taking them out one by one. He makes short work of the entire gang, but is left without the information he came for. Here's Batman, taking on the custom street thugs that I made out of these drifter Bruce Waynes. For my intents and purposes, 2 thumbs up, worked out perfect. Now let's check them out, next to some other action figures, starting off with some other McFarlane DC Multiverse figures. Here's the Unmasked Drifter, next to the Drifter with the facial covering. Then, the Unmasked Drifter, the Drifter with the helmet, and the Drifter with the facial covering. And here he is, next to a couple of Gotham City street thugs, made from Drifter Bruce Wayne figures. Then, my entire collection of Drifter Bruce Wayne figures. Here's the Unmasked Drifter, next to the Unmasked Batman. These are exactly the same heads, just the makeup's a little bit darker on the Unmasked Batman, and he doesn't have the dirt on his face. And now, next to Robert Pattinson Bruce Wayne in full Batman attire, here is McFarlane's entire The Batman collection. Now let's check him out, next to some other recently released McFarlane DC Multiverse figures. Here he is, next to a couple of Lex Luthor figures. Then, next to Superboy Prime and the Birds of Prey Harley Quinn. And here he is, next to a couple of Lobo figures. Then, next to both versions of the Mortal Kombat 11 Joker. And here he is, next to the Speed Force Flash from Zack Snyder's Justice League, and the Reverse Flash from DC's Rebirth Comics. Then, next to Batman Beyond's Unmasked Batwoman and the Atomic Edition of Blight. And here, with General Zod. Then, next to the Rebirth Batman and the Infinite Frontier Robin. And here he is, next to the Rebirth Martian Manhunter and the Lois and Clark Black Suit Superman. Then, with the Justice League Endless Winter Aquaman and the Death of the Family Joker. And here he is, next to the Batman The Dark Knight Returns, Superman vs. Armored Batman 2-pack. Then, with Ultraman and the Zarnar Batman. And now, here he is, next to the Batman The Dark Knight Returns, Collect to Build a Horsewave. Then, with the Gotham Knights figures. And here, with the Justice League Endless Winter, Collect to Build a Frost King Wave. And finally, here's Bruce Wayne, next to the most recent McFarlane Mega figures, Titan Joker and Clayface. Now let's check him out, next to some action figures from different various companies, to see how he fits in both scale and style-wise, in case you want to know which lines you can mix him with. Since he's a McFarlane figure, they're typically the 7-inch scale. I'm going to start off my comparisons with some of the large action figure lines I collect and work way smaller, but we're going to start off by comparing him with some of his McFarlane Toys brothers. In front of you are 5 different action figure lines, all from McFarlane Toys, all 7-inch scale. Then, next to some more McFarlane Toys, these are from different various video game properties. And now, next to some Jakks-specific wrestling figures. And here he is, next to some DST, or Diamond Select toys. And here he is, with some NECA figures. Then, next to some Mattel wrestling figures. And now, next to some Jazzwares AEW wrestlers. And here he is, next to some Mezco 112 collective figures. Then, next to some Mattel DC Universe Classics and Multiverse figures. And here he is, next to some Maplex figures. And here he is, with some Hasbro Marvel Legends. And here he is, next to some SH Figure Arts action figures. And finally, next to some Jazzwares Fortnite figures. Overall, it's a pretty nice figure. This type of figure is right up my alley. Regular, civilian-looking figures. This guy makes for a great body for a street thug or henchman. Sort of biker thug. He does look a little awkward. The torso is just way too big, puffy, bulky, and awkward looking. The likeness, it's decent, but it's not great. I really wish McFarlane would have made a regular Robert Pattinson head. Obviously it's not appropriate for the Drifter figure, but something with the regular hair and eyes. For my intents and purposes, I give this guy 2 thumbs up, but looking at the figure as he is, his articulation is clunky and awkward. His torso is just way too big and bulky. Robert Pattinson is more of a slim type physique. His accessories, the backpack's cool, doesn't do too much for me. The sculpt and paint job, I mean, they're excellent for what they are, but the sculpt, it just doesn't work for me, this torso area. Like I said, for my intents and purposes, I have a couple of fantastic street thugs and henchmen. I also have 3 different variations of the Drifter Bruce Wayne, so I'm very pleased. I've also seen some really cool customs out there, people making Bob the Goon from the 1989 Batman film. I would love to make one of those, so I may end up getting an 8th Drifter. My word. So this is D Hunter. Thank you guys for watching this video. If you liked the video, press like below. If you have anything you want to say about the video, add to the comment section. If you want to see additional action figure reviews from me, press subscribe. I do appreciate when you do that. Once again, this is D Hunter. Thank you guys for watching this video, and I'll talk to you guys real soon.